Now, like many of you watching at home, I'm sure when you moved to this country, you weren't quite sure which of the multi-legged creatures you came across were friends or foe. Well, this is what A Bug's Life is intended to help you with. I've been joined by Bill Hulse from the company Insects Away, who have developed a new fly-catching machine, which we'll be finding out more about in a later programme. But Bill, first of all, you do have this warped interest in insects. Why?
Yeah, we're told that all God's creatures have a purpose, but I struggle to find the purpose for all the bugs. Why are there so many of them? Why are there so many different types? Flies, wasps, hornets, bees, caterpillars, cockroaches, millipedes, centipedes, praying mantis, scorpions, and of course all the different types of spiders, particularly our own local jumping spider.
Yes, I've seen those jumping around, those little things.
That's the one.
Of all the ones that you've mentioned, which is the most dangerous?
Perhaps surprisingly, the fly.
The fly?
But not surprisingly when you realise that, or remember, that a fly spends most of its life standing in crap, vomiting on it, so it can eat it.
I hope you're not eating at home right now.
Particularly when the fly lands on your food, it shares all its food.
Yes.
When it lands on your skin, its sticky feet have gone all over that crap and they deposit all over your skin.
And they do harbour literally millions of bacteria.
Yeah, it's said that flies kill more living creatures than any other creature.
Yeah. Talking of other insects, which ones should we really be looking out for?
The processionary caterpillar.
Now that's that little cute little thing, isn't it?
Cute, perhaps. Do you remember when you were a youngster in England, probably playing with these very colourful, furry little creatures?
Keeping it in a matchbox?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Don't do it here.
Why is that?
The processionary caterpillar is covered in hairs, and the hairs are toxic, even after death. If you hit one with a stick and kill it, you're sending the hairs into the air. They're just as dangerous as when they're on the back of the caterpillar.
And why are they called processionary caterpillars?
They go from usually pine tree to pine tree, but
Yeah.
it can be other trees, and they go nose to tail in a procession as they leave one home and set off looking for food from another.
Right. And you really should steer clear of them.
Steer clear because of the toxic hairs. Keep particularly children away from them and pets. An inquisitive dog could be in a lot of trouble.
Now-
Cats, of course, have more sense.
Right. Are there ways of getting rid of them?
There are ways, and there are ways that I don't think we should use, perhaps. I've read frequently that you spray them with lighter fuel and set fire to them.
Oh,
that certainly works, not in Spain.
Not in. This is an arid country.
Yes.
You don't want to be starting any fires.
No, I think the best thing to do is keep your distance, enjoy them, and as with other bugs and critters, just let them go on the way.
Right. And they do live in pine trees.
Principally pine trees, but not exclusively. And
Yes.
you're most likely to see them from, say, early February to spring.
All right. So if you're buying a property, it's probably worth bearing in mind, you know, the sort of trees you have in your garden.
Yes, but it doesn't have to be without pine trees. Just go to the local garden centre and find out how best to discourage the caterpillars from going into the pine trees in the first place.
Yeah. Centipedes.
Yep. Everybody knows what a scorpion looks like.
Yeah.
If you see something that can be up to 10 centimetres long with two sharp jaws at the front end,
That sort of pincer things.
that's right,
Yeah, yeah.
and what looks like a scorpion sting at the other end, that is a centipede.
Right.
Despite its size. You won't see them very often. I was here 2 years before I saw one, but you won't miss them from the size and the bright yellow colour. And again, their bite is toxic. It can be irritating. It can possibly, with an adverse reaction, be downright dangerous and in extreme cases even fatal.
We have to bear in mind that, as you say, in most cases it can just be an irritation.
Yes.
But people can have a very bad allergic reaction.
That's right. The best advice I can offer is if you are unfortunate enough to be bitten by one, if there is any sort of reaction at all, seek medical help, just in case.
And do we have scorpions in Spain?
Oh yes.
Oh, really?
Yep. There is a Spanish scorpion as well as the African scorpion. Of course, we're not that far from Africa.
No.
There are plenty of boats that come across and plenty of scorpions that hitch a ride.
So, and let's face it, if you are unfortunate enough to come across a scorpion, it's the sort of thing you want to steer clear of anyway.
Watch it and enjoy it by all means, from a safe distance. All these critters, unless they're trying to set up home in yours, my advice would be enjoy them and leave them.
Now, as I mentioned, Bill, we're going to be finding out more about your company, Insects Away, in a later programme, but just give us a little sneak preview.
Well, it's a way of getting rid of all your flies, environmentally friendly, very affordable, and most importantly, you don't kill all the little bugs and critters that you didn't want to harm.
No home should be without one. But that's for later. Bill, for now, thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon.
And welcome to the second part of It's a Bug's Life, where we show you some of the insects that you might come across in Spain. Last time we were looking at the ones that bite and sting. This time we're concentrating on the insect which I think is the most annoying, I'm sure you'll agree, to the fly. I'm joined once again by Bill Hulse from the company Insects Away. Bill, flies, disgusting creatures.
They are indeed, and more dangerous than people realise.
Dangerous?
Because of the disease that they spread by landing on whatever they think is food. Don't forget they vomit on it, they stamp on it to soften it up, and then they eat it.
Lovely.
And the next time they land on your food, they'll share that experience with you.
Isn't that absolutely charming?
It is revolting.
How many flies are there? Do we have any idea?
Well, I'm told there's over 120,000 species of fly worldwide. In Spain, you'll hear of the housefly, the fruit fly, the black fly, the horsefly, the sandfly, and I'm sure there's lots more.
I'm sure there are. Now, we're going to be concentrating on two flies in particular. Which ones are they?
The housefly and the fruit fly.
All right, the name suggests to me that, well, I know the difference between them. Just tell us more.
Well, firstly, the number of flies there are. Both flies share one thing. They breed at a fantastic rate.
They are basically breeding machines, aren't they?
Yes.
As soon as they hatch.
That's right. And I'm told that if just two flies got it together at the beginning of April and had an average sex life, then by August there'd be 190 million. To me, that's an awful lot of flies.
I just can't imagine that number of flies.
Well, let's try and put it into perspective. I'm also told that that's enough to cover the whole of Australia to a depth of more than a few metres.
The best thing that could happen to Australia, in my view.
Much better than on my food.
Now, the housefly and the fruit fly. Now, as I said before, the name suggests that they live in different areas.
Yes, they're actually very similar in appearance, somewhat smaller than the well-known bluebottle, both very similar in size, both with similar colours, but the other way round. The fruit fly is black at the tail end and yellowy brown towards the head. The housefly is exactly the opposite, black at the front with a tawny sort of tail. What they both share, if you look very, very closely, are deep red eyes. And
Right.
I can't help thinking that the fruit fly gets those from the fermenting fruit that it lives on.
They're sozzled.
Yes,
So the fruit flies eat all your fruit and they can have devastating effects on harvest.
devastating's the right word, because they'll lay their eggs inside soft fruit.
Oh.
And of course, they feed on the fruit as they grow, and it just destroys potentially the whole harvest. And I can never forget the one time I was splitting open a particularly juicy orange, and I found myself staring into the maternity ward of a fruit fly. It was revolting.
The housefly, easy to get rid of?
No, very, very difficult to get rid of. If you're trying to stop them coming indoors, the most obvious way is to shut all the doors and all the windows.
Which is a bit pointless when you're in Spain.
Exactly. Another way is the time-honoured fly swat, fly spray, the sticky paper that hangs from the ceiling.
Elastic band, I'm good at that.
Lots of corpses lying around.
Yes.
The problem is, whenever you deal with one, two more appear. So you need something more effective than that. You could try fly screens, but again, sooner or later somebody's going to want to go through the door, and that's when the fly will join you.
What about the fruit fly? If you don't have any fruit in the house, will that keep them out?
They're inquisitive and they've got a tremendous sense of smell, but by and large, yes, the fruit fly will head for fruit. So your problem is outdoors more than indoors.
And Bill, keeping flies at bay when we're outside enjoying our barbecues, is that easy?
No, that's much, much more difficult because, of course, we are outside. As well as trying to swap them, you could use one of the many scented candles or similar that are available.
Yeah.
But in my experience, the fantastic sense of smell that guides a fly to my food just deserts it when it comes to getting anywhere near a scented candle.
Well, let's face it, if I was a fly and I had the choice between a scented candle and a nice sizzling hamburger, I know which one I'd go for.
I'd do exactly the same.
Well, let's now take a look at the high-tech future of fly catching. And here it is. This is the Flyaway Flycatcher in all its glory. Tell us about it.
Well, this is actually a prototype, Simon. Insects Away have been trying, without success, to test it to destruction. But so far it just keeps on going and going and doing its job.
How does it work?
Very, very simply. We have here the platforms. We use a pheromone bait on there which attracts the flies to sit down and start doing what they do naturally. That takes their mind off the fact that they're being very slowly and near silently moved through this channel, and when they get round here they're attracted by an inside bar which just clicks to divert their attention for a moment. They spot the daylight and they head into it in large quantity.
And it's fairly effective.
It's very effective. All you have to do is occasionally add the bait, occasionally empty the container. The rest of the time you just forget it. It gets on with its job and you get on with enjoying your life in Spain.
How long has it taken to catch that number of flies?
That depends on how many flies are about. It will just continue to attract whatever flies are there. If, God forbid, your home's infested, then that wouldn't take an hour.
An hour?
If the home was very badly infested.
Just show us how many flies that is. Go on, look at that.
A lot.
A couple of, oh, they smell revolting as well. That is the number of flies it will catch. It's an amazing machine. How can people get hold of this?
Two ways initially. Either look at our website, www.insectsaway.com, or telephone 968 171 542. There is another way. We're going to be at the Home and Garden exhibition in Alicante on the early days in April. Come along, have a look at the machines, meet the team, and when you see what it does, walk away with one on the day.
Early April, that exhibition?
That's right, at Alicante.
I can vouch it's very, very effective. Bill, do you want these back?
No, thank you.